So if you're watching this, then it means that I'm no longer here. In Germany, that is. I'm still alive. Well, hopefully. It depends if this thing let go on the Autobahn on the way to Europe and took me out of the game. Yeah, I still don't know yet, but, well, either way. Here's a little video of all the jobs that never made it into videos of their own, mainly because it was shorter jobs. It's a bit of wind noise. Mainly because it was shorter jobs. And yeah, I'm not really into doing TikToks and YouTube shorts and all that kind of thing, so I thought I'll save the smaller jobs, smaller videos, put it all together and make a longer video for you guys. I know a lot of you prefer the longer ones as well, so yeah, hope you enjoy. So one thing I do need to have a look at is the blower motor. Now, for a long time, this thing was making a lot of noise. I'll play you some noise of it shortly. If I can get a fuse back in here, it doesn't look good, does it? That one's okay. But there's a problem here. In this fuse holder, it's brown. I couldn't get the fuse, I had to basically break it to get it out. I don't know if it's... Yeah, it's started to melt. Yeah, the plastic's starting to melt. It really doesn't smell good at all. I didn't have any footage of the blower motor making noise, but yeah, it sounded like there was an overexcited ghost in the car. It was really loud. Yeah, what I will do is, obviously before I look at any of this, I'm actually going to take out the blower motor. Yeah, it's a bit easier on the 940. It's a little bit more work to take this one out. But yeah, we've got loads of like little 7mm or something, it looks like, these bolts. So we'll whip those out quickly. Yeah, they definitely weren't thinking of the mechanics when they designed this. The ones at the back, these little 8mm, 7mm, really tricky to get on actually. I had to unplug this. As you can see, I've had to take out the ECU. Yeah, not very good actually, but I suppose it could be worse. It's a vast improvement over the 240, isn't it? Where they built the whole car around it. But let's see if we can get this out now. Let's see. Yeah, it's a shame I never actually got to play you footage of it actually running, like in the car, how it sounded before. But I think you get the idea. Delco Products, Dayton, Ohio, USA. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I can take this apart or do anything with it, can I? I'll try, but it's... I also found, where is it here? There's loads of corrosion on these pins. And in there, so that probably wouldn't have helped with the resistance and could have caused some issue as well. Don't know where that nut came from. rusty, isn't it? Plenty of rust in there. The brush is where they go against the thing there. Is it the armature, or whatever they call it? I can't remember. But yeah, they look good. They still look fine actually. This was cleaned up. I assume it's this bearing in the back here that centres everything. So in there you got many years of stuff, creatures' nests, and I can't clean it out because it's magnetic. It's try and clean it out. But yeah, a lot of stuff. Bit of grease in the end there in that thing, but I think it will be fine. But we'll just put a dab of grease in there so it can spin. And that should be alright, shouldn't it? And then we can save our 34-year-old made in USA product instead of ordering a plastic one from China. Let's see how we get on. It's not going to be perfect, but I don't want to go too hard on it because I don't want to interfere with the shape of it and sand these grooves down too much or anything like that. But yeah, just thought a light pass with the sandpaper just to take the surface rust off. And a smear of grease. On the back side of this, I couldn't actually take this part out, which I would have liked to. Obviously you've got the brushes on the other side. I would have liked to have split this completely, so I would have took the shaft out completely from all the housings. Couldn't get it out though. There's like a washer here that's like tapped down onto it. You can put it on, but you can't really take it off. I don't know how to get it off. I think maybe you'd have to cut it off and then fit a new one. Tried to prise it off and it just wouldn't work. It seems to just, you know, go the one way. So I made a bit more of a gap and made it looser, sprayed some grease in there. Well, first chased it through with some like penetrating oil, then sprayed some grease through. Does seem to spin a lot nicer, and then I tapped this back down and like tapped it firm and took out the play. So whereas before you'd be able to pull this shaft and kind of move it back and forth a little bit, now you can't really do that. It's much tighter, but it seems to spin okay. Smooth enough, much nicer, much smoother, much quieter. So maybe now we've got it, there's way less resistance, so that should work. The jazz music wasn't intentional. That'll be fine, I think. Should hopefully get us through the winter. Now what I really need is a blob of weld on it, and that'll sort it out. Obviously I can't do that, so I am just going to screw. I'm going to put a screw into it, drive a screw in between the shield and the exhaust, and that should just quieten things down for now. Definitely not forever, maybe forever. There we go, you can just see the head poking out. I haven't screwed it into the exhaust or anything like that. It's literally just, it's tight as well, and it's just sandwiched in between the heat shield and the pipe, so it just takes out that vibration. shifter bushes I've got on this car as well. There's like 3 of them, one here, another one at the front, that one there, and yeah, it's all the same. These bushes here, they're all the same, 3 are the same. This here, there's a clip there, you just pop it out with a screwdriver, then this slides out, and obviously the bush goes in here, in between here. Yeah, quite a big downside to using fluid film. So there we go, that's it into position. So yeah, now it's nice and tight again. There's no wobble there really, there's no movement. So another problem we've got is this thing here. It's just come off. This thing's come off here. And normally there's, when that's on there, there's like a ring that sits over there as well. Doesn't really keep it on as such, but it's like plastic that goes over the top. That broke apart, and then shortly after, the whole thing just came off. Obviously this 34-year-old adhesive has had enough. So I'm actually going to put some epoxy on. Super glue as well. What I'll probably do is mix up some epoxy, put it all over, then I'll use some super glue in certain key points, put it on. Super glue should hold it quickly, and then obviously give the epoxy a chance to set. It's like candle wax. So this stuff absolutely stinks. It's so bad. It smells like a hamster cage that hasn't been cleaned out for a few months. Push it in like that because it shouldn't stick. As long as I haven't gone over the edges, it shouldn't stick. It'd be a shame if I glued my glove box shut. But this way I can push it firmer. Don't really know how long to wait. This should divide opinion somewhat, maybe. Steering wheel cover, but not the usual type of really awful stretch over cover that has writing on it and colours and whatever else. This is a vintage style steering wheel cover, how they used to do it in the old days. I'm gonna try it out. Might look good, might look a bit cringy and weird. Where's the instructions? I think it's too complicated. I couldn't get a good answer online. I was looking for a long time. You can see how the sun has moved considerably. Still no straight answer, but that's the internet for you, isn't it? I'm sure some people even find that problem with my videos sometimes. Anyway, I'm just going to keep going. I just didn't know how to start it, and I don't know how to finish it, but we'll find out when we get there. It just takes me back to when I was young with my first car, and I'm sure it's the same for a lot of you older gentlemen watching as well. 60s, 70s. I think it works, it fits. It's an old lady's car, isn't it? It's grandma's grocery getter, isn't it? Another quick one. Batteries. Now, on this car, I've got a Varta D24 battery. It's great, lead acid, no problem at all. I was going to get another one because I needed one for Lily. Not because there was any issue with it, but I was kind of swapping batteries around for ages, and then I kind of had not enough batteries for the amount of cars. So now that I've sold Rosalie by the way, I didn't have enough batteries, so I needed to buy another one. So I got this one instead. Regretted my decision already. I knew I would end up doing that, but it just arrived a little bit quicker, and I needed one basically. I had two cars, one battery, so of course I needed to be a bit quick about it. But this was a mistake, and I wanted to share this with you guys because I had no idea about this. So calcium batteries are better in a lot of ways. The problem is with calcium, it needs a higher charging voltage from your car. They need to be charged at 14.8 volts. Needs to be at least that to they can be charged at higher voltage. That's the one thing about them. They can take a higher voltage and they can charge up quicker, but it needs to be 14.8 ideally. Now the problem is, now a lot of like newer cars, they put out that voltage. There's like smart alternators that put out the right voltage and all this kind of stuff, but we're dealing with 30-plus-year-old Volvos here. It's not the case. So all this means that you could end up with a battery that doesn't last as long. That's the long and short of what I'm trying to say. Better to stick with the lead acid. If I've got that wrong, if I've made a mistake with any of that stuff, obviously put it in the comments. Let me know your experience, but that's just what I've learned from a morning of Googling and hearing from people and asking a couple of questions. And they haven't even taken the time to put the sticker on straight, which is a little bit disconcerting. So you'll have to excuse the piston slap, it's quite loud. So there has been a change of plan with the gauges. As you can see, it looks quite different to the last time you saw it. Now it's all original, which looks really great. It was actually in that video where I fit the other gauges, someone reached out because I did say, oh, I did want one extra gauge to go down here because this was moved there because I didn't have enough. And yeah, long story short, he basically said, look, I've got a gauge if you want it. Turns out he had 3 gauges, original gauges, and quite a lot of wiring that he didn't have any use for. So he gave me an offer I couldn't refuse and sent them all the way over from Australia. And now we've got the full set. I've also just received this from the same guy that I bought the engine block off. You will have seen this briefly in the video where we had a look at that car, that Donor 240. Yeah, I spotted that straight away and I got a bit excited, and yeah, so we did a deal on that and he just sent that over. Now I've actually got the clock here at the moment, which of course most of these cars came with. So I'm actually going to remove that and then fit this. Hopefully it's straightforward. Of course then that means we'll have 2, but then eventually I'll replace this with oil temperature, because then we'll have oil temp, oil pressure, battery voltage, and vacuum gauge or economy gauge or whatever you want to call it, and this temp gauge as well. So then I think we'll have the full house, won't we? So this is the signal for the tachometer, and someone did say to plug it onto number 1. Oh, it works. That's it, that's all you need to do. I still need to even buy an oil pressure sensor for this gauge because it doesn't function at the moment, and they're about €70. Take it or leave it, there's not a better choice. So, well, there might be something on wish.com or something like that, but you never know what's going to show up, do you? So oil pressure sensor, oil pressure switch, just there. Simple single pin sensor switch thing. We've got this in its place. Simple thing, unscrew the old one, screw this one in, no problem at all. And of course that's got 2 connections on it. One for the oil pressure light, the red light on the dash, and then of course the other one for our gauge, which will actually give us a reading. Okay, so let's see. So we're going to need a different kind of connection for this one. I'm pretty sure G is for the gauge, and then the WK one is the dash one. Yep. Fancy calling the kid Julian. Then again, I can't say anything, my name's Sledge, so. So, what I'm going to do now is install these wires. So we've got positive wire here, which was from this tacho, this little tacho, we're going to steal it. Positive wire, black being negative. Yellow, of course, is our sensor wire. So the sensor wire goes where it says G. And then obviously plus and earth. So that should be it. There we go. So this is the part I've been looking forward to the most. Oh yes. Who needs new tail lights? There's a kid's birthday party behind me, so excuse the noise. Because I couldn't do the axle, it was kind of a good thing in a weird way, because then I had time to do something I've been really looking forward to do, and that's carrying on with the Polytrol Colour restorer. I've done the tail lights and they just look great now. Like I say, the same as what I said with Elsa, they need to be replaced, because I mean this is a little bit loose, it's probably just going to fall out, it's cracked. They're old, so they need to be changed, but until I can actually change them and get a set for the right price, at least they look nice now. They've got some shine to them again. So I've gone over the bumper, and I'll have to show you guys properly when it's outside, but I've gone over this trim again, needs to be replaced, but I've just gone over and made it black. And mainly the biggest issue is I'd got a load of polish on it, and then you just had all those white marks and it just looked terrible, so that's taking care of that. And yeah, I've done the trim at the bottom, the trim on the side here. Yeah, it's just, we'll get it out in the sunlight at some point and have a closer look, but yeah, it's really nice, makes a big difference. Obviously I need to fix that trim. So there we go, a few extra bonus clips there, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Last few jobs here in Germany, and yeah, this should hopefully tide you over a little bit until I can actually start spannering in the UK, which I'm sure is going to take a little bit of time, and even when I get started, it's going to be cold. It's going to be rough, but yeah, we'll see how we get on. I don't know how the videos will go. I don't know what will happen, but yeah. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that extra little video, and yeah, I'll see you in the UK, I suppose.